What's going on YouTube? It's me, Dave, again from Double Dragon Gaming. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different and show you guys my gaming setup. I thought some of you might be interested in seeing my setup that I have, what I consider to be my very own personal at-home arcade. This has taken a little bit of time to put together and it still has a long way to go, but I thought it would make for an interesting video. I thought maybe it will inspire some people to do the same, make your very own at-home arcade, a place you can go away and escape and get away from the world and be by yourself and do your own thing. So I got some cool stuff I want to show you, so let's do it. Let's take a quick tour. Let me show you some of the stuff I have. Okay guys, so here it is. This is my humble little gaming setup I have. There's still a ways to go. I know I have a lot to do still. I got to get a new desk and get rid of those tray tables and put up some posters and stuff and decorate. But for the moment, it does the job. It's pretty cool. And so let's just get started. I'll show you what I have here on the right first. So first and most important, I have my Oculus Rift VR headset and my Xbox One X. The Oculus Rift is probably one of the coolest gadgets I own. It's just so great. It's really like an arcade in and of itself. You know, you want to get away, you put this thing on, and you're gone. You feel like you're a million miles away. There's so many different games to play, so much to do with the Rift. Ever since I got it, I've been loving it, and we've just been talking about it and telling everybody about it. So the VR headset is really cool, and it really completes my arcade experience. Then I've got my Xbox One X. It's one of the best consoles I've ever had. You know, it does backwards compatibility, 4K gaming, and it's really an awesome console. Can't say enough about the Xbox. So those are my two most cherished possessions. And then on the bottom here, I've got my my controllers. So I've got my Bluetooth SNES controller, some wired NES controllers, my Xbox controllers, my Rift controllers. So because I don't have my Super Nintendo anymore, or my Nintendo, when I want to do some retro gaming, I just pop on an emulator, and it kind of completes the experience, having the controllers at least, so you feel like you're playing the Nintendo or the Super Nintendo. And I got those on Amazon, like most of the stuff I have here. So you can find those on Amazon. And then down below I have a very small library of Xbox games. Got some Forza games, got Dragon Ball FighterZ, NBA 2K, Grand Theft Auto. I had a lot more games, but I sold some of them and got rid of a lot. So I don't use my Xbox a whole bunch, but when I do, I primarily use the Xbox for Forza, which brings me to this, which is my Thrustmaster TMX racing wheel. And I did a video a few weeks ago where I played Forza Horizon 4 and used the racing wheel. And this really completes my arcade experience. If you love racing games, I would strongly suggest getting a racing wheel. It really feels like you're driving. And this was a couple $100. It's one of the entry-level racing wheels. It has force feedback. It's got the pedals and stuff. So this thing is really cool, and it's what I primarily use my Xbox for. So racing wheel is definitely a really cool thing that I have. And then on the left here, I've got my PXN fight stick. I got this on Amazon for about $50 or $60, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty good for the money. It's not very expensive. So if you like fighting games and you like going to the arcades and you want to have the arcade experience at home, I would strongly suggest getting the PXN fight stick or one similar to it. And then I have my Thrustmaster flight stick, which is great for flying games. I play a lot of Elite Dangerous in VR, and this actually separates right there in the middle, so you can have the stick on one side and the throttle on the other. So really cool. And that brings me back to the middle here, the core of my arcade experience. I've got my Acer Predator Helios 300. That's the 2017 model. I love this laptop. It's a really good laptop, best one I've ever had. I know a lot of people tend to frown on gaming laptops. I just don't know why, because it's pretty much having the power of a desktop and being able to take it anywhere you want to go. So this is what I use to make my videos, do all my VR gaming. Pretty much anything I throw at it, it can handle it. So it's got a NVIDIA GTX 1060 graphics card, an Intel i7 7700 HQ processor, 16 gigs of RAM, a 256 solid state drive, and it's just great. So for around a grand, 1,100 bucks, you can get this. If you're interested in getting a gaming laptop, I strongly suggest the Acer Predator because it's just a really good laptop. I've had no issues with it. I got it for Christmas in 2017, and ever since then it's been nothing but a good time. I've had no issues with it. There is, a slight overheating issue that people tend to have, but if you know computers and you're good with computers, all you got to do is download Throttle Stop, do a little bit of undervolting, and then I've got a cooling pad underneath. So you turn that thing on, and it blasts cold air into the laptop, so that keeps it cool. And yeah, it's a really good laptop. Can't say enough about that. Got my tablet there, so I can look stuff up while I'm gaming, and that's really it. I know I have to do some upgrading still with the desk, and I got to get rid of those tray tables. At some point, I would like to get a really strong desktop PC for gaming and stuff, but for the moment, the Predator does the job. I actually got a backpack especially for my Predator. This was about 100 bucks and change. You can get one on eBay. As far as taking your laptop around and keeping it protected, that's the one to get because it's a good backpack. Protects my Predator in case I drop it or somebody kicks it or whatever. So that was a well investment, good money spent. And yeah, so this is really it for the moment. It's a work in progress. It will get better over time. The next time it's video worthy, I'll post another video and let you guys know where I'm at with it. But I've got plenty of room here to do my VR gaming. When you have a VR headset, you want to have as much space as you can possibly have so you don't walk into walls and stuff. So I got plenty of room to do VR gaming. The only issue I have is I've got a ceiling fan up there. And so sometimes if I'm raising my hands over my head, swinging in the air, I'll punch the ceiling fan. So that's why I move my setup to the left a little bit so that way I'm not directly underneath it. But that'll do it for the gaming setup. For the most part, that's it. Let me show you some of the games I have now. Most of the games I have are all on my computer. So obviously I have a very small library of Xbox games. So in the future, things that I don't have that I'd like to get, again, a desktop PC, maybe the PS4, the Nintendo Switch, some of these things that I don't have. Really want the PS4 just for the Spider-Man game because that is just so good, that game. But yeah, that'll do it for the gaming setup. Let's move on to some of the games I have. Okay, so here we are at my desktop. Let's quickly go through some of the games I have. We'll start with Steam. So you got 20XX, which is like a Mega Man type game, side-scrolling. You got some multiplayer in there so you can play with a friend. A lot of fun. Blaze Blue, Bloodstained, Cuphead, Dead Cells, Doom, King of Fighters, Resident Evil, the new Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 7, Soul Calibur 6, Tekken 7, and The Witcher 3, which is a very good game. My VR games for Steam, Megaton Rainfall, Orbis VR, which is like an RPG kind of game, Pavlov, which is a first-person shooter game, Project Cars 2, very good racing game for VR. And then you got Star Trek Bridge Crew. So for you Trekkies out there that you love playing Star Trek games, this is a good one to play in VR. So let's move on to my Oculus library. You have Onward, Sirento, Beat Saber, Everyday Golf, which is a good golf game, Echo VR, and Google Earth. So if you don't get to travel much, this is a really cool way of seeing the world and traveling around. I use this sometimes when I want to go sightseeing. And we have Elite Dangerous, very good flying game, space sim type game. That's a good one. Alt Space VR, which is like a social game. I met a lot of cool people in Alt Space, made a lot of friends from all over the world. So that's a good one. Chronos, one of the most popular Oculus games. I'm not a huge fan of this one. It is good, but I just haven't gotten that into it. And we have Robo Recall, and some of the Steam games will pop in here once you play them for VR. So you got Star Trek and Orbis and Pavlov are in there. So then we have Dead and Buried and Drop Dead. So these are some good VR games, but my favorites, Onward, Sirento, Beat Saber, and Echo VR are my 4 favorite VR games. And I play these all the time. These are really good ones. I highly suggest getting your hands on these. So let's do some emulator games. Got my PSX emulator. So we have just the basics, not a big library. There's so many more games for PlayStation 1, but it's Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Final Fantasy Tactics, some of the Mega Man games, Twisted Metal, and Xenogears. So these are some of my PS1 games. And then PS2, not a whole lot of PS2 games, just a few. Final Fantasy X, Twisted Metal Black. These are some of my favorite PS2 games. There's a lot more out there to get, but those are easy to get my hands on when I want to. So because I'm having issues with OBS when I launch my PSP emulator, it's giving me a black screen. I'm having some problems with that. So let's just go in here real quick and I'll show you PSP. These are my PSP games: Castlevania, Crisis Core, Twisted Metal Head On. Some of my favorite PSP games. There's a lot more out there to play for PSP. And then my Genesis games. I got some Genesis stuff right here. So these are the Genesis games. Aladdin, Battletoads, Ghostbusters, Sonic the Hedgehog, of course, and Streets of Rage, and I think Double Dragon's in there, of course, yep, and Toe Jam and Earl. So some good Genesis games. Let's try showing you Nintendo. So these are my Nintendo games. Yeah, not a whole lot of Nintendo games, but some of the good ones that I like: Rampage and Shinobi, which is actually a Genesis game. Punch-Out, Ninja Turtles, Zelda. So these are my Nintendo games: Super Mario 3. And then Super Nintendo, we'll go back to in here. These are my SNES games, my favorite 16-bit console. So Mega Man, Final Fantasy, Final Fight, Super Mario, Ninja Turtles. I got a lot of good ones in here for SNES. Right? Now here's an interesting one. I have an arcade emulator that my brother put together. This took him a while to do, but it's got some good stuff in here. So we have Alien vs. Predator, Dungeons and Dragons, a lot of good stuff in here. More than I could ever possibly play. So many games to choose. Marvel vs. Capcom, and Ninja Turtles, X-Men Children of the Atom. Some good stuff in here. Don't get to use it very often, but very cool to have. So that's that. Then we've got Nintendo DS. I don't know why it's showing that as Internet Explorer. Something might be wrong, I have to fix, but these are my DS games. Okay, and then lastly, Game Boy Advance. So these are some of my Game Boy games. Yep. So that's that. And that really is it. I don't think I missed anything. So that'll be it for today. Thank you guys for watching the video so much. Please remember to like, subscribe, leave some comments. If there are any games you saw me play, or mention here that you would like to see me play, just let me know. I'd be happy to play a game for you. You know, if you saw a game in here that you've been interested in and you don't have it, just let me know in the comments and I will do it. So that'll do it for today, guys. Be on the lookout for more videos from us. We've decided that every Saturday and Sunday of the week, that's when we're going to release our videos. So each weekend we'll have more coming out, so keep an eye out for that. And that'll do it for today, guys. Thank you so much. We'll be back soon. Take care, guys.